Welcome one, welcome all. I am Sprometheus, the internet's unfriendliest barista, and today we are going to start another series. I know, we've started quite a few already this year, and this is essentially the third new thing we're going to do this year, and that is a complete novice, yours truly, repairing, restoring, refurbishing, whatever reword within reason you want to use on an Olympia Cremina. It's a 1977 Cremina that was gifted to me by my brother. It is in some rougher shape, as you can see, but I think it has promise. I think I can do this. And with your help, I'm sure there's many people out there who have access to these machines, can help me sort of figure out issues, what to do where. Also, I'm going to be kind of using a lifeline over here to my, I guess it's my right, your left, is my computer where I have open the Orphan Espresso series where they take apart and refurbish or repair a Cremina, which is going to come in handy, I think. So we'll see. But with that, today, the first episode in this series is going to be the breakdown and evaluation. So what we're going to do is take a look at the exterior of the machine, see what may need to be replaced, repaired, already just looking at it, and then we're going to try to take it apart. So we're going to see what's the status inside the machine, hopefully avoid asbestos poisoning. I believe that's already been taken care of from my understanding, and a quick glance underneath the machine, but we shall see. But before we dive into any of that excitement, a quick word from this video's sponsor. Nothing pairs with a cup of coffee quite like the perfect read, and Standart magazine fills that role perfectly. As an independently published, coffee-focused quarterly, Standart brings together all the elements of the global coffee community in one place, shedding a light on those with stories to tell, looking into new tech and innovations throughout the industry, and even the aesthetic and artistic experience of coffee culture overall. Plus, as a bonus, it comes with a sample of coffee from some of the best roasters on the planet. So as an avid Standart reader, supporter, subscriber, and now partner for many, many years, I'm happy to be able to offer $5 off your very own subscription when you go to standartmag.com/Prometheus or use code Sprometheus at checkout. But if you're still on the fence, don't take my word for it. You can actually try Standart today for just the cost of shipping. There's not much to lose, and trust me, there's a lot to gain. All right, here we have my 1977 Olympia Cremina. It looks like it's in a bit of a rough state. I did just already take off the lever because it wasn't really fitting in frame. So that I do have, but even just at a quick glance, you can tell it's missing some things. So let's do a quick overall evaluation of the machine. So as you can see, we are missing some large pieces of the puzzle. We are missing the portafilter here, of course, which means also missing basket spring. Some important pieces when it comes to brewing. We are missing the steam wand. So the entire steam wand assembly, essentially meaning most likely, I don't know where it is. We're going to need a valve, a steam wand, a knob. We'll see what else is missing once we get inside here, but we're missing some important pieces there as well. Also, looking at the outside, you may be also wondering, if you're not familiar with these machines, what this hole is. And that hole is for the power cable. And this unit specifically, I'm not sure the timelines for these machines, but this one has a hardwired power cable that goes in and underneath. So that's going to be a challenge. If only I had the little plug-in version, but of course I don't. So beyond those three pieces that are very important to actually using the machine ever, which hopefully won't be too difficult to track down or find or whatever, or expensive, I think we've assessed the outside. It's a little dirty, it's a little dusty, whatever. This will clean up, I think, okay. So we're going to find out how that works too. Also, we're going to have to decide if we want to keep this classic look, this classic orange color, and just try and keep it as original as possible, or if we're going to go full mod town on it. But that's a decision for another day. For now, let's crack this thing open. Okay, so from what I understand, there should be a nut right here, like a 30 millimeter nut, but we don't have that. So should be one less thing to deal with. So the top piece here, I think one of the main things we should look for is how stiff the gaskets are. I think that's what Orphan Espresso says on their little step-by-step. So yeah, that feels pretty hard. I did already order a full set of gaskets for this machine, plus a couple other bits. So we'll be expecting to change that and maybe struggling to get that out at some point. Okay, so next up is removing this top portion. So because there's no nut here or anything like that, this already feels fairly loose. That was easy. We can now see a bit of the boiler. Oh, there we go. And we're in, folks. This is the point where I should point out that my brother did already remove this. The boilers originally are shipped with asbestos on them because at the time, probably asbestos was seen as some kind of miracle insulation type of situation, made in 1977. So now we know it's kind of awful. So it's been stripped already. We may look into getting something else to go around this boiler, but time will tell. Okay, so next we're going to just try and take this case off. And honestly, it looks like it's in pretty decent condition considering. Does it just lift? There we go. Okay. Yeah, honestly, the case itself, it's not too bad. There's a couple little dings and dents and scratches and whatnot, but for being 50 some odd years old, not a whole lot of complaints there. And now let's get ourselves maybe a better shot of the internals now. And as you can see, it looks like the boiler has been mostly cleaned, minus the fact it's a little dusty. In terms of wiring, we've got some cut wires here, and what looks like to me is the old style, more ceramic plugins here for these, so I need to be careful with those. Also, it looks like we have a old P-stat or pressure stat, which we'll see if this is even working. All right, so now let's take a look underneath, because that might give us a bit of a clue as to the state of the wiring. Now, honestly, that doesn't look terrible. Again, we've got some cut wires up by the switch, which I don't know what those go to yet. My understanding inside this machine is minimal right now. So we've got some noticeable issues. We've got this large burn mark here, which isn't ideal. Some of these ports are a little rusty. This nut itself also has some scale on it. So I'm going to guess that there is some kind of leak happening here. Some of these bolts on the bottom of the boiler too, that I'm assuming are holding in the plate that holds the element, are a little rusted. So I can't say that's a great start in terms of thinking if like the internals in here, like the element, wiring, all that stuff is going to work as it should. So I'm expecting to have to replace probably that as well. Hopefully not the entire boiler, but we'll take a look inside eventually and kind of see what that looks like. So let's now get it back on its feet and continue our breakdown and assessment. All right, so the next thing, I did try this already. The actual lever, when it's in there, obviously, this whole mechanism, the press, is seized. So I'm going to have to remove this piston and things like that without moving this out of the way, so it might slow down the progress a little bit. This, I believe, is a 15 millimeter nut. So let's see if we can make that happen relatively easily. Fingers crossed. Not too bad. I'm half expecting that my brother has taken this apart. I think that's why it's missing some things. So, you know, he did say he stripped this of the boiler of asbestos, but he also didn't know it was asbestos. So fingers crossed he didn't breathe in too much of it. But now we're on to the next step. See if we can get this off without too much hassle, even though it's kind of being blocked by the lever. It's a little bit sticky, but not too bad. All right, so next up, we're going to try to remove the fork. Now, I believe Doug calls these from Orphan Espresso snapping turtles. I do have replacements for these, so if I break them, I break them. But these are what's essentially holding this piece in place. So we're going to try to get those off. Now, this set is kind of close together, so I can't really fit this the teeth from this in here very clearly. So let's try this one first and see if I can get the teeth in here and pry it open that way. Yeah, see, as you can see, it isn't super hard to get them off once you can get a little bit of the tool in there. There we go. We did that, I think, mostly. There you go. That's a good view of these suckers. So yeah, the right tool definitely makes the job easier. That's for sure. We'll put new ones in place there. And that one's gone as well. So we're going to come back up to attention and see. Oh, that's already loose. So this should not be a problem at all. All right, so a lot of these bolts are just barely tight. This one's a little on the tighter side, but not too bad. And the bolts themselves look like they're in pretty good condition, so these likely won't need to be replaced, which is a nice bonus. We like it when things come out easily. This one is pretty loose still too. Just gotta give it a little bit further. It's almost there. And out we go. All right, we've got a group that's free of the boiler. Maybe to get a better look inside the boiler at this angle. Let me grab my flashlight. It doesn't look too bad in there, to be honest, but I think we're still going to citric acid it before we start trying to brew coffee. And also, I think we do need to check, based on some of the visual representations of leaks on the bottom. We want to make sure this thing can actually hold water. And of course, we have ourselves a group. So, you know, it doesn't look like it's in too bad of condition, but again, I know very little. I'm just looking at the general look and feel of the materials. And I feel like the screen has probably seen better days, but, you know, not something, a little bit of Kafiza, some citric acid, maybe. Probably not on that, but you know, we'll figure out how to clean all this stuff up. That's going to be probably a fun experience. And I think what I'm going to try to do right now is see if I can get some of these seals out. This one already looks actually not too bad. It definitely has some bend still in it, so that could definitely be much worse than it actually is. All right, so next up, I'm going to try to remove these little posts so I can remove the fork. I can see that this one has a little bit of play in it still. Let's see if I can get that on camera. See how it's already kind of loose. But this one, I'm not getting any movement from, so wish me luck. And I think, honestly, the best way to do it is to just kind of press it out with an Allen key. So I think that's the angle I'm going to go for. Of course, this one that already moved earlier does not want to move now. So what we're going to do is break out the old mallet. All right, so as you can see, this one was much less difficult. And this now is moving freely, which we love. And this little character here obviously is going to need some cleaning, but you know, that's the fun part. Next up, let's see if I can get this other more difficult one out here. All right, after some knocking around with the hammer, we are most of the way there. We're so close I can taste it. I'd call that success. All right, so I think the last piece of the puzzle today is trying to get this piston to come through. It might not happen without any, I don't have any lube for this at the moment, but try and get that piston through, try and get this screen out, check the state of the gasket in there. It looks okay from what I can see, but we're still gonna probably replace it, but let's see if we can get this piston out, shall we? I can't tell. Did it move? All right. Well, I think that might be our natural stopping point for today. This is going to be the challenge moving forward. We're going to try and get this piston out next time to get some things cleaned up. We'll get some before and after shots for that. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on this style of video. If you enjoy it, if you're having fun, if you're along for the ride. If not, we'll see you later because I'm going to do this anyway. But hopefully you're enjoying it. If you got any tips, tricks, ideas, thoughts on whether I should turn this thing into a modded machine or if I should just go full on restoration. So let me know your thoughts on all those things and everything else in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications when new videos drop. Check out my Instagram at Sprometheus for more coffee content. Help support the channel by considering becoming a member for unique exclusive perks. And as always, stay caffeinated. Pony Boy.